the Urban Domestic Diva, and today I'm going to take you through how to do a mosaic table on a metal table in particular. I've done a lot of mosaics before for the garden, but usually on a porous surface. This is going to be unique because it is in fact a metal table, and a table that I've had for years that I got at IKEA, and it usually should sit inside, but we're going to prep it so that it can sit outside and be a really great table for this wonderful little sitting nook that I created on the deck. First things first, you need to make a plan, and you draw a little design on a piece of paper and roughly think about what you want to have as far as mosaic elements on the top. Then transfer your design onto the top of your table, and because it's metal, use either a metallic Sharpie or a white China marker so that you can see clearly where you want to put your mosaics. The next thing you want to do, once you get a sense of what you're going to put on here, is go to Home Depot and a few other shops to get materials. And I'm going to take you through what you're going to need to get. Okay, so you need to do a little shopping before you get started. First things first, you need your mosaic materials. Here we have an array of stainless glass cut pieces that I actually got on sale at Joann Fabrics. You can go online and get your mosaic pieces. I would go around and check prices. Hobby Lobby is also a place you can get them. And you want to organize them in a container like so you have all your colors all separated out. It'll go a lot quicker that way. But don't be relegated to just mosaic pieces. Actually, a really great and affordable thing that I like to do, and very unique, is to actually go to thrift shops and get vintage plates. For instance, this was 95 cents and it was pink tag, which meant 50% off. Pretty cheap. And so what you do with these, once you find your colors you want, get a nice big hammer and some safety goggles and have some fun and break until you got nice pieces, and organize them according to color as well. Also, there's lots of aisles in your craft shop that can give you lots of inspiration for mosaics. For instance, the jewelry aisle have lots of charms made out of shells and beads that could hold up to the weather and be very decorative. You can also look in the scrapbooking aisle, where now there's lots of metal embellishments that you can use on your tabletops and on your pieces. Also, seashells are a great decorative element that you can use on your mosaics as well. Just be careful that the material can stand up to the weather if it is an outdoor piece. If it's an indoor piece, then you have even more opportunities to use some of the other craft aisles, like buttons even. Wooden buttons could be very pretty in mosaics as well. So if you can glue it down and put grout in between the open areas, you can use it in your mosaic. Now, when it comes to actually gluing things down, you usually use a tile adhesive, which you'd use in tiling a bathroom. However, because this is a metal table, that's a very slick surface, and we need to use an epoxy. The great thing about that is it's actually cheaper. So after talking to my Home Depot guy, he suggested liquid nails adhesive, which was like $3 around a tube. And this is what you're going to need to glue down your pieces. So tile nippers are great for when you want to cut a piece into a specific shape. You're trying to get a very specific shape going on in your mosaic, getting nice and dainty with your pieces. When you're using this, and when you're using a hammer, and when you're breaking anything, be sure to use safety goggles as well. The other thing you're going to need is grout. You can get colored grout, you can get white grout. Back when I started doing mosaics, you could only get white grout. I was really excited to find this really nice light smoke colored grout. This grout has a polymer inside to allow it to be, it can stand up to the elements better. If you just have a really plain simple grout, you do need to add an acrylic latex additive if you are using your mosaic piece outside to make that grout permeable to moisture. But because this is included, all we have to do is add water to it. To put this on, you're going to need a palette knife, or if you want to save some money, I use actually a plastic knife. It's nice and small and you can throw it away, as well as rubber gloves and a wet sponge. I think that's all you need. Hope you got your list, and we'll get tiling. So it's been a few weekends and I've been able to get a lot of pieces in on the top, so the design is pretty well fleshed out, and I've been working on the sides of the table as well. So actually I have just a few more pieces to finish out, and it's a good idea to let the glue cure for at least overnight before you grout. So I'm going to finish out the sides here, and then we'll let it sit overnight, and then I can show you how to grout. The key to piecing mosaics is finding, it's like a giant puzzle, really. Once you have your design planned out, finding pieces that work. For instance, this fits really nicely in here. So I'm just going to set a little glue in here. And again, like I mentioned, this is liquid nails epoxy because we're gluing onto metal. If this was a porous surface, we would use tile adhesive. Got a little spot there. And as you can see, I have a combination of glass bits, mosaic bits, broken plates from the thrift shop. This one needs a little bit more glue. Kind of set it in place like that and hold it. If you want to look on top here, I used broken plates to create a little edge in here. These were those ceramic beads from the jewelry aisle at Joann Fabrics. I even had some string beads. I decided to create kind of some sun rays along the edge here. So it's a combination of pretty much lots of things that can be able to stand to the elements, but also create some interesting elements in your design. I think the funnest part is to break plates. You can have all these different textures, and as long as you understand your color scheme, being selective on what you're going to break and where you're going to put things where. Okay, so our mosaics have been sitting overnight, so it's good to go for grouting. So to start with your grout phase, you need a bucket that you're not too worried about. It's going to get trashed. So this is a bucket that we use for drywall and such. So this is good for grout. You need your water, ice cold water, a mixer, and your grout. Now, I don't have a lot of surface area. I consulted my hubby who does a lot of grouting and drywall, and he said I only need about half a bag. So pour half your bag. And make sure if you're working on your deck or somewhere that you don't want to get messed up, put tarp or a garbage bag so you're not making a mess. Alright. And now, gradually add your water, and what you're looking for is, start with a little bit. You're looking for kind of runny mashed potatoes. Keep going. Okay, so we mixed our grout, and you can see it's kind of a runny paste. And I would suggest following instructions on your package. This poly blend says to let it sit for 10 minutes. So we're going to let it sit. Some just let you just kind of go right to it. So we'll let it sit and then we'll start grouting. So it's holding a track if you make it with the mixing stick. So I think it's thick enough to at least get started on the tabletop. It'll thicken up as I work on the sides. Okay, so we're ready to grout. First things first, rubber gloves and a tool to help put your grout on your mosaics. This is a drywall tool that my husband uses that I kind of stole from him. You can use a palette knife too for painting if you'd like. And you just grab some grout, put it on your knife, and work from the middle out and just start spreading it and pushing it down. Push, scrape, push, scrape, and push it into the cracks. I'm getting closer. You can also use your fingers to kind of help push it around, especially when you get up in here where you're going to have different heights. Kind of the challenge with plates and breaking plates is that they're going to be a little thicker than glass or mosaic squares. So that's when you have to kind of use your hand a little bit to kind of move the grout around. So we're going to cover our whole table with grout. And then as we go, we're going to scrape excess off the top like that and push it. Take your excess that you're getting and use it to push in, working outward. So keep going and then we'll go to the next step. So as you can see here, I'm going to take a little step back. You can see that I've, from the inside out, grouted that first layer of grout and scraped as much of the excess as possible and moving it around, you know, with my hands. Now I stopped short of the edge for now because within 10 to 20 minutes things are starting to set, and at this point you want to go over it with a wet sponge to get a lot more of the excess grout off. So let's get to that step. Getting away a lot of this extra grout, and you're going to start to see your really pretty mosaics underneath. You're going to keep doing this, working again center out. But you need to move a little quickly because again, once that grout starts to set, it's just going to get harder and harder to get off of the mosaics. So like I said, I stopped short here in this inner circle so I can get all of that all wiped down, and then I'm going to start to grout this outer edge and do the same thing. Kind of a terry cloth rag. You could also use cheesecloth and a brush, a metal brush. This is a more plasticky brush to be a little bit more gentle. You could use a metal brush too. This works fine and it won't scratch up the the mosaics. This is a more delicate piece, so I'm going to be a little bit more sensitive about it. So all you do, phase one of the buffing, is just start really getting in there and scrubbing off all the excess dried grout, and you can see that things start to brighten up, and even the smaller pieces that were a little bit buried in some of that grout start coming through a little bit. And then you just take a cloth, kind of buff it till it shines. So you can see the difference from here to there. Thanks for watching.